After the way the podcast ended last week, I've come to a decision on a few things, but before I get to that, there's a little bit of stuff that I want to get off my chest. So let's start with Nell. What do you think that this podcast would have been without me? Alright? You, sir, are the man who claims that there are people here struggling for that power trip, struggling to just be better than everyone else. But here's the thing, you want to talk about us on power trips and you apparently immune to them, as you claim to be, or want to be, Mr. 100. You don't think that's a little bit of a power trip right there? You, sir, are better than the other one, I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, you're not immune to anything. I mean, hell, you created a fan just to make yourself seem more popular. You used social media to just have a fan pop up out of nowhere and be on your side. And that's not a power trip. That's not a cry for being so desperate to seem superior. Get out of here. And you, sir. And then you have the audacity to take this and change it and reflect it over to me. Because you want to have Kid Limbo support me in my cause. And you want to give me something to look at and be like, alright, that's what I gotta use to get through this. But lo and behold, it was all just you being a manipulative, conniving son of a bitch. And I want to get one thing clear. You've been saying I've got this arrogance and this cockiness and the power trips. But let me tell you something. Do you know how many people on the face of this earth mistake confidence for cockiness? Do you know how many people on this earth mistake standing up for yourself is arrogance? Because that's what I'm doing here. I decided I'm not going to just listen to you guys run your mouths anymore. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm not just going to sit here and be like, oh, we'll see what happens. If I win, great. If I lose, not. No, I'm in this to win. And because I want to stand up for myself and believe in myself, you want to say I'm cocky, or you want to say that I'm arrogant, or I'm power tripping. It's just something I can't fathom what the deal is with you two. But at the same time, you know, it's funny because you, every time it happens, you just want to baby the other one. You know, anytime he whines and he starts to complain, I know exactly where it's going to go. You know? You just want to sit there and look at him and you're going to say, alright, fine, we'll do that. And what happens? It bites you in the ass. Every single time. And then you get bit in the ass and you're like, oh, well, that happened. But usually when you get bit in the ass, it screws me over too. Because you are an impulsive and selfish person. But at the same time, you're also the most boring person on the podcast. Just, hi, bye. Really? Really? But you know what? It's just so much. There's so much that's been an issue here because this podcast, granted it was your brainchild, I will give that to you. You, sir, came up with this idea, but it would be shit if it was just you and the other one. You know why? Because you, sir, are as plain as a piece of wood. But here I am. I do majority of the editing. I make the logo. I make the intros. And you have the audacity to say that you just needed me for editing? But you know what? I know the other one's probably sitting there laughing, but he's not getting off scot-free either. Eric, you are honestly the least important person on this podcast. You have the least worth out of all of us. What do you do? What do you even do here? You walk in when you decide to. You sit down, you talk about a show that half the time you never even watch. You just read verbatim off whatever site has the review on it. And then you just sit down on your phone for the remainder of the period. Do I even really need to say anything else? But you're a whole different monster when it comes to this, because for as little as you do, well, that's an understatement, for the nothing that you do here, you claim to be this king. And granted, I claim to be a Khan, but let me split the difference here for you. The Khan is a mindset that I've developed for myself. The mindset of not taking anyone's shit and speaking up for what I want and what I think I deserve. This king that you claim to be is you on a power trip because you're thirsty for it. The only thing you ever want, or the only thing you feel that you are supposed to be, is a king. You literally live in a fantasy world. Well, let me tell you something. This is not Game of Thrones. You are not Jon Snow. You are not the King of the North. You are literally, as I said before, the least important person here. You would probably just be an extra that died in episode 1. Honestly. And you... then again, you might not have died. For all we know, you would have just quit. Again. And you hold on to this ideology that whatever you lose, it's never your fault. Nothing bad that happens is your fault. Everything you do is supposedly justified. Every loss you have, something supposedly screws you over. Well, this button got stuck. Well, that one's supposed to happen. Well, that was Get over it. Get over it. You lose, you get better, you get over it. But in your case, you'll probably just quit the third time. But hell, let's be honest, if you quit for a third time, this podcast would get 100% better. And for as long as I've known you, I never thought I would see the day that your head would be so far up an ass that isn't your own. I never, in the history of ever, thought I would see you get neutered. But hey, whatever makes you happy, go on. You can take your balls off, drop them in her purse, and if she decides to give them back, you can take them back. But when you take them back, who's going to be standing around you because you've alienated yourself from every single person you know and claim to care about? And it's the funny part of all of this, of all of you just being, there isn't a word to describe it. But the funny part of all of this, whether she decides to give your balls back or not, is what happens when you, being so far up her ass, drives her up a wall, and she leaves you, and you have no one but yourself. You have no one to turn to. And you get stuck there, and for all we know, I fear you might quit again. And I'm not trying to be the bad guy. I'm not trying to be the person who comes on and just... Actually, you know what? I am trying to be this person, because I'm done putting up with the shit that you two always put me through. I'm done putting up with all the nonsense here and there. I'm all set Because the fact of the matter is this. At Extreme Rules, I'm done. I am leaving. I quit. I am all set with this podcast. So good luck finding someone else to take care of SmackDown, or hell, do it yourselves. But guess what now? You're basically going to be doing a podcast literally by yourself, because he'll probably never ever show up or never even watch what he's supposed to watch. But what I'm leaving with, I'm taking everything. I'm leaving with the gaming title. I'm leaving with my Money in the Bank, and I'm leaving the predictions champion. So I'll show up one more week. I'll do my job. I'll do what I'm supposed to do. But that's it. And like I said, come Sunday, I am done. When the clock strikes midnight, I am done. So you two better bring your A game at Extreme Rules. Because if not, you guys are going to lose everything. And that, for the last time, is the Khan's word.